Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi of legendary Roosevelt Island. Got something special for you. I ran a bunch of legendaries this weekend. So you're going to get 4 legendary Roosevelt Islands. Oh gosh, there's the volume that I don't need the volume on. So number 1 was that these are run in chronological order. Well, they're not running chronological order. They're running from longest to shortest. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is the shortest. So let's look at 4 first. Starting off, I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. If you like videos like this, please let me know when the comments are working if you'd like to see these comparison videos. I think these are important. One of the things that you're going to notice here in frames 1, 3, and 4, we jumped over and fought. And in frame 2, we're doing the traditional clear, and then we're going to run to the boat. In, I think, number 3, I'm using a high damage build, my kind of legendary high damage build. It's not legendary high damage. It's high survivability, but it's damage. And then I think 1 and 4 are my traditional. If you see me pulsing, that's what 1 and 4 are. I have a pulse in all 3, but you can always tell by the frequency of the pulses. So in video 4, we get everything down pretty fast. And this is normally, if you have a group with high weapon DPS, you're going to be able to take these down pretty fast. And that's kind of the key for jumping over if you have that type of stuff. You can do it different ways. In one of these, I might have a high DPS turret build with a artificer hive. I don't know why I always choke on that word artificer, but artificer, who cares, YouTube? Anyways, so that's kind of what we got going on. Today I was at work, had an interesting thing with a bunch of, they're not my colleagues, but they're people I do an event with. And they had a lot of questions about the YouTube channel. And I was looking on some other things. So what the channel is eventually, we're going through the videos, but eventually it's going to be more of a podcast kind of thing where we talk about different things. But I know the majority of people like this followed me because I'm doing Division 2 content. You're going to get a lot of that. I just had some time to play Division 2 and I have some interesting content. I don't want to show you over and over again legendary, me winning legendary. That the point isn't to gratify that I'm winning. I want to show you some strategy and some other things in the Division 2 that aren't really covered. I could go over patch notes, I could go on the test server, I could do builds, and I might not ever have as many views as everyone else, but that's not really what I'm going for. I'd like to have enough views where I can monetize it and make some other videos that you might like. But I want to give you content that's pertinent to playing the game, not just me adding different pieces together that I'm never going to play, because I found that I can get through all the content with really one major build. So that being said, we're getting near the end here with number 4. The last part of Roosevelt comes in these phases. Number 1, the phase is whether you're going to jump over and fight from here and you kill one copter or the other. If you see in video 1 and 4 at the moment, if you get everyone to go to that right side, only one copter will spawn. So it's really easy to do. The other thing, after you kill the copters, then a helicopter comes here locally, drops 3 scrubs, and then it drops a chunga far. At this point, if you've knocked down the helos this fast, you have enough DPS, the chunga's not going to be a problem. And I think what you see in number 1, I have the St. Elmo's Fire. That might be my DPS build. It happened to be the slowest of the 3, I think. And number 2 is obviously, that's the old traditional way. That's faster than number 1. I think a mix of both skill and weapon DPS builds helps in these kind of things. As normally, I want to ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Hit the comments when you can. I might have already asked you this once. I'm trying to put a lot into this video, notifications, because it didn't take that long to do this last part. And getting these videos to look somewhat okay when you got 4 of them going on is kind of a PITA, pain in the butt. That's Roxy growling for some reason. And the dogs have been unruly tonight. So it's been a Calgon night, YouTube. So I don't even know where I'm going to put my face in all this. Probably in the middle of 1 and 4 at the bottom. Didn't even think about that. Ruh-roh. So I've told you time and time again, if you're going to do evaluations, you have to have things correlate. So I try to start all these at the same time. It's not exact, but this correlation is what helps you make determinations on evaluations. And it's part of problem solving. The first thing in problem solving, let's say we were measuring two parts and we want to make sure that they were made the same. They got to be at the same temperature, come off the same machine, roughly at the same time, like one after another. Because as you know, if you're drilling metal in an engine plant, that tool is constantly wearing down. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what was told to me once. Difference between American manufacturing and engine plants and Japanese manufacturing and engine plants. Americans measure the part to determine the tool wear, and they run the tool until it almost breaks, and then they change it. So they get the most life out of the tool. A Japanese engine plant, and this is back, let's say in 2000, whatever. A Japanese auto plant will just change the tool every 10,000 hours, and so they don't ever have these quality issues. And both of these are ways to save money in different aspects on the front end or the back end. You can see number 4 is done. You can see I'm pulsing up there on number 3. So depending on your group, the one thing I can't control is the group makeup. All I can do is look at myself. I'm not even using the same build. All I'm giving you is the kind of the time I jump over, and you get to see kind of generally what's going on. One thing about all these builds, it's tedious to do this. It's not fun to run the same thing, and what I'm trying to do, number one, is help someone in this group get theirs. I've gotten my exotic earlier in the week, so I'm just running these legendaries like crazy at a certain point for more interesting content. And number 2, I wouldn't want to use, like, I have lesser builds that I'd love to try. I'd love to run a legendary on purple. I'd be carried somewhat because the time to kill, sometimes you have DPS checks. But would you want me to do that to some group, to some unsuspecting poor people? No, I'm not going to do that to them, YouTube. So part of this kind of thing I'm going to always do is I'm going to try to help people get their builds. Fighting from the boat is nice. At that point, when I can put out pulse, it's great because while you're pulsing that helos, if they're left, you're pulsing all the enemies. So by the time everything dies, it's, you know, you have 3 or 4 enemies left and that's it. What I did notice at the end of this, once you kind of clear everything, then it will spawn one more wave of people at the end. You always want to be careful when you're doing this legendary that you don't get too aggressive. There's people who will spawn on the far left. A couple of waves of them will spawn. And if you're not ready for them, those could ruin your day. You don't want to... I have wiped probably 3 times in my life where we've killed the helos and then we couldn't close the deal. That is bittersweet, YouTube, because you've won. All I have to do is put the icing on the cake. Obviously, you couldn't put the icing on the cake, therefore you lose. Sorry for the brevity of this video. I just happened to be getting better at this. I thought everything would be about 13 minutes. I had one that was like 6 or 7 minutes. It is what it is. But again, today we talked about the channel, and it made me think a lot about the channel. When people are talking to me, they're trying to guess what the name of the channel is. They're never going to guess it, right? At a certain point, I'll share you why it's Ronin Kazi. I think you know why it's called Why, the podcast portion of it, because I'm a big proponent of that in the problem-solving vein. But it was interesting to see them. They don't know me on this side of the world, to hear what they're saying. There was a lot of making making a bug out basement box. All I can think is, man, I look like a serial killer. So they're thinking like I'm serial killer. Not a serial killer, YouTube. But I do like making these videos. I do like making the channel. I like spreading the gaming to different games because I think that's important. I'm also doing this so that I can monetize the channel. If other games hit that are more popular, I want to go to those. But some of the old goodies like Division 2, I'm always going to keep doing those because there's some value. Because it's easier for me to talk and tell you about this because I know a lot about Division 2. It's easy to explain what's going on. So anyways, YouTube, thanks for your attention. Thanks for your support. I appreciate everyone that's liking the channel. Some Division 2 legendary content for you. Ronin Kazi out.